All right, this is tragic, and we have no time to waste, so let's jump in. The family of Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim who was scouted, groomed, and then subsequently sex trafficked directly out of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago spa at 15, 16 years old, and then subsequently committed suicide in April. Her family spoke out today on CNN with Caitlin Collins and directly responded to Donald Trump's words on Air Force One just a few days back when he said that Virginia Giuffre was quote unquote stolen by Jeffrey Epstein, which is an explicit admission that Donald Trump knew what Epstein was doing. But even beyond that, even beyond Trump's involvement, I think we should just honor the victims. We talk a lot about Trump's involvement, but the victims really matter the most here, especially people like Virginia Giuffre. So let's watch this clip, and we have a few more to play after, but this is the family of Virginia Giuffre speaking out.
She wasn't stolen. She was preyed upon at his property, at President Trump's property. And I think it's very important that we don't treat it like stolen. Seems very impersonal. It feels very much like an object, and these survivors are not objects. Women are not objects. What goes through my mind is that it's time to protect survivors, and it's time to protect the young women and our future generation of young women. So no, she wasn't stolen. She was preyed upon, and it certainly makes you kind of ask the question, how much he knew during that time, right? Even a couple of years later, even after he, I believe he had stated something along the lines of cutting off communication or kicking him out. He described Jeffrey Epstein as somebody who really enjoyed being around young women. And so she was preyed upon. She wasn't stolen. That's a predator that came and took her and did absolutely horrible things to her and so many other women out there.
Very well said from the brother of Virginia Giuffre, who is still grieving. This is fresh. Giuffre only tragically committed suicide back in April, and now Trump is walking around on a daily basis reopening this wound for the family. But the brother makes a lot of really good points here. First of all, if Donald Trump knew about this and kicked Epstein out of his club, about this specific thing, why did Trump years later then say Epstein likes girls young? I mean, that is directly admitting that he knew in this scenario. He also makes the point that the way Trump describes women, describes Virginia Giuffre, is just inherently sexist. When you say that he stole her, it's the same type of objectification that we see in the Access Hollywood tapes when he said, they just let you do it. You can grab them because they let you do it. You're objectifying women in a really nasty way. Now, here's a clip of Virginia Giuffre's brother saying, release the files. Virginia wanted the files to be released.
I think one for me is, when are we going to start believing survivors? I think that's a very powerful one. And it's certainly something every survivor feels. We've had the opportunity to speak with so many powerful survivors out there, and I think it's important their voices get to be heard. I think another question that I have, and it pertains to, we already talked through why Ghislaine Maxwell should not even be considered remotely by the Department of Justice to be released or get some sort of pardon. But I think the other thing that we need to speak about is, why aren't the documents being released? And so we want that question answered. We want to know, why aren't the documents being released? They deserve justice. These survivors had something taken away from them they can never get back. And it's time for these monsters to be exposed and get something they can never get back, which is their freedom.
I will say it's very brave to do this only a few months after the suicide occurred. Something that has broken my heart about this whole story was listening to an interview of Virginia Giuffre. Then I'll play this clip. But there was an interview of Virginia Giuffre where she was saying when she was working at the Mar-a-Lago spa, it was actually like her dream job. It was her passion. Before she met Epstein, it was like her passion to work there. She was studying anatomy, massage. She was learning and she liked it a lot. And then Epstein came and preyed on her, as her brother said, groomed her, sex trafficked her, and obviously changed the course of her life in a dark way. Here's a separate interview. This reads heartbreaking. Giuffre's family is asked how they'd react if Trump pardons Ghislaine Maxwell.
If Maxwell were to receive a pardon at some point, what would that mean for you?
It would unwind everything that my sister and all the survivors fought for. It would be a disgrace of justice. It would be picking abusers over survivors again.
It's really, really heartbreaking stuff, and this administration is enabling this sort of abuse. Donald Trump was confronted at a press conference today about a statement that Virginia Giuffre's family released overnight. So just think about this. The President of the United States can't even hold a single press conference with athletes or football players or anybody. He can't hold a single press conference without getting asked about his sex trafficking buddy and his clear involvement.
Week between this executive order, trade, Russia, Gaza, but also the family of Virginia Giuffre released a statement overnight in response to some of the comments that you made this week. You said that Jeffrey Epstein stole people from Mar-a-Lago. At the time, did you know why he was taking those young women, including Virginia?
No, I didn't know. I mean, I would figure it was ABC fake news that would ask that question, one of the worst. But no, I don't know really why. But I said if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring or whatever he's doing. I didn't like it, and we threw him out. We said we don't want him, at the place. This is a story that.
First of all, these guys in the back look quite uncomfortable. When Donald Trump gets asked about a sex trafficker and he immediately begins to attack the media, watch this guy's face right here.
It's ABC fake news that would ask that question, one of the worst. But no, I don't know really why.
He sort of gives a look, but how is that going to be your answer? Virginia Giuffre committed suicide tragically back in April, and Donald Trump's answer is going to be attacking the media rather than, at least saying something nice about the family. Donald Trump has wished Ghislaine Maxwell well more than he's wished the victims well. He literally said to Ghislaine Maxwell, "I wish you well." That's more than he said about the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. It's kind of like how he praises Vladimir Putin, but makes up nicknames for everybody else, every single other country. For some reason, Donald Trump doesn't know who his allies and his enemies are. He will attack our allies while praising Russia in the same way that he'll attack ABC News, never say anything about the victims, but always be saying, "I wish Ghislaine Maxwell well." It's incredibly odd. And I'm going to leave it there. I just wanted to hop in one more time before the end of the day and record this breaking news hit. If you like these quick injections of news into your feed, all that I ask is that you subscribe below. You can join the Adam Mockler subreddit for community. We have the show on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you are, we are. So I'll see you all in the next one.